All right, let's get this show started.
Let's start today's news with Paddy Pimblett blasting Tony Ferguson's training with David Goggins. Ahead of their UFC 296 outing, Ferguson has been seeing training with the former Navy SEAL and runner David Goggins, who recently put El Cucuy through Hell Week. While Tony made it through, Paddy Pimblett has questioned how useful the training will be. During a recent interview with The Energized Show, Paddy stated that Tony doesn't need help with his cardio, and training with Goggins is just a stupid move in his eyes. He said, "I think it's bizarre and I think it's f***ing stupid. If there's two things that Tony's never needed help with, it's his mental state. Looking at the armbar Charles Oliveira had him in, he didn't tap. That's a nutter right there. Look at his cardio. He's never had a problem with his cardio, so I just don't understand why he done it. He must be thinking that he's not where he was mentally a few years ago, but that's not the reason he's losing fights, lad. It's because he's older, he's lost athleticism, and he's not as fast as he once was." Despite these comments, Paddy still thinks Tony is a tough fight for him and hopes the fight can be similar to Tony's war against Anthony Pettis back in 2018. He continued, "I want a war. I want to look like Anthony Pettis after he fought him, and I want to look worse than Anthony Pettis after he fought him. I want to scrap, lad. I'm going to come in and throw down. I see this as a lose-lose fight for me because if I did lose, people will be like, oh, you got beat by a washed Tony. And when I win, people are going to be like, oh, Tony was washed anyway. It doesn't matter. Even though I'm seeing everyone online picking Tony to beat me, I know for a fact, even when I win, I'm not going to get any credit." CONOR McGregor's Irish Pub is running at a staggering $2 million plus loss. McGregor made around a $2 million investment when he purchased the Dublin bar he named the Black Forge Inn. However, the pub is still experiencing growing pains based on the latest financial disclosures per a new report. According to records filed by Gemmy Ventures, the company that oversees the pub owned by McGregor, the restaurant and bar recorded losses of 432,000 euros last year, which translates to just over 600,000 US dollars. While in 2021, the Black Forge posted losses totaling 1.13 million euros, or approximately $1.8 million. This was the pub's opening year and was during the global pandemic. All told, McGregor's Pub has accounted for over $2 million in losses since the business venture started, per financial figures reported by The Independent in Ireland. Although losses have accumulated, Gemmy Ventures valued Black Forge Inn and all of its assets at a net book value of 4.4 million euros, which is $6.1 million, at the end of 2022. According to the report, the outstanding loan amount for the business decreased from 5.3 million to 4.1 million euros by the end of last year. Jon Jones goes off on a random fan on X. A Twitter account named Ranbets posted a video trolling that running is tougher than MMA. Here's the video.
Alpha than MMA. The reality is that many martial arts practitioners are simply childish men who never grew out of the phase of play fighting with their friends and fantasizing about being superheroes. Martial arts are all about learning techniques, while running is purely about enduring pain. Anyone with a brain could tell you which of these two is.
When Jones saw the video, he commented, "Dude definitely got his girl smashed by an MMA fighter. When you're running too hard, you can simply stop or slow down a bit. Being in a mixed martial arts fight is like being in the middle of the ocean. You don't know what you're doing, you drown, you could literally die. It's the most real sport to ever exist. Can't even call it a sport. It's a way of survival, a way of life." Brandon Schaub gets honest on Ian Garry Sean Strickland beef. Garry has been on the receiving end of some flack online after it was discovered that his wife made a book titled How to Be a Wag. This has led some to believe that Gary's wife is only with him for the notoriety and money. Strickland chimed in on the situation with a video posted on social media warning Garry to get out of his marriage. This led Ian and his wife to threaten suing Strickland, who didn't take too kindly to the threat. During the most recent episode of The Schaub Show, Brendan shared his take on the beef and criticized Strickland for how he went about the situation.
So Sean Strickland finds this out. Sean Strickland's going to Sean Strickland. This is why we love him, right? He just shoots from the hip. But he says he's trying to help Ian Garry out. If you want to help Ian Garry out, you don't go public with this and make it this entire storm of info for Ian Garry and his family. My only caveat there, my only criticism of Sean Strickland, it's good content for what we do and all that stuff, but I could care less about that. But if Sean Strickland wanted to actually help Ian Garry, he would have messaged him privately. That's where you're like, oh, you're not trying to help him, dude. Here's the other thing. I don't give a shit. If Ian Garry likes older women and she's his manager and she's directing him in this way and influencing him in this way, okay. Why do you guys care? If that works for him, who are we to judge what works for Ian Garry? If they're in an open relationship, monogamous, whatever it is, who gives a shit? All I care about is Ian Garry performing inside that octagon. Why everybody has this thing to say about the way he deals? It's his private life, man.
Michael Bisping defends Ian Garry from critics. During a recent episode of his BYM podcast, Bisping weighed in on the drama between Ian Garry and his wife Layla and UFC middleweight champ Sean Strickland. Bisping believes that Strickland and the MMA community went too far, and things such as family shouldn't be talked about in public.
I don't want to get into this either. The big story over the weekend, this whole thing with Sean Strickland talking about Ian Garry's wife, right? People are coming out. YouTubers are talking about it. They're mocking the whole situation. Ian Garry's clearly pissed off and responding in a manner. He's threatening to sue Sean Strickland. I get it. I understand it. That's his wife. That's his lady. All right, he came out and did this book. That was a long time ago. I'm not going to comment about somebody's wife. I'm certainly not going to make tittle-tattle of it. I'm not going to make light of it. You don't do that. You know what I mean? And to be honest, it's not, I mean, he's fortunate he's fighting Vicente Luque, because Vicente Luque is not the type of guy to bring up any of this stuff. You know what I mean? And the whole thing, it's in bad taste. And people say, oh, well, she did a book, How to Be a Wag. Do you know what I mean? She came out, she said, no, if you know the context, she did that. It was satire. It was sarcasm. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it wasn't. All I know is it's his wife. It's the mother of his children. I think people should have a little bit of respect. I said that yesterday on a YouTube video. I just touched on it very briefly because I was talking about UFC 296 and people came out and said, well, hold on. He was talking shit about Neil Magny. Right? And he kind of twisted his words there. And I get that, right? I get that. But you can say whatever you want about your opponent, and your opponent can say whatever they want about you. I feel like talking about people's family, talking about their wives, is a little bit of a stretch.
Today's top 3 memes. Third place was found over Instagram. It was posted by a username as shopped as it gets. Second place meme was found over Instagram and was posted by a user named BeaverSmashTV. And the top picked meme was found over Reddit and was posted by a user named Twinks. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe to stay in the talk.